because it's crazy the amount of shilling that these conservative influencers will do for Israel, particularly Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, we saw Patrick Bet-David recently went out and he completely shilled for Benjamin Netanyahu and he shilled for Israel. And he claimed to ask all these tough questions. And he asked questions, yes, but then there was no pushback. He never followed up on these questions with Bibi Netanyahu. And so who do we have next? Officer Brandon Tatum, this black conservative influencer who a lot of people like. Well, he recently has come out and completely defended all of the Israeli army's actions against the people of Gaza, and he's defended Netanyahu to a T. And so he had Netanyahu on his podcast quite recently on YouTube, and it didn't do too well. And he framed it the same way Patrick Bet-David framed it, of asking tough questions. But these tough questions, they really didn't come from any place. He asked the questions, but he never followed up. It was the same thing as PBD did. So here's one clip we have of Netanyahu essentially spilling Israeli propaganda. And so we're going to play this clip for you. Mind you, this was on Officer Tatum's show.
And I have to tell you, Israel has the most moral army and also the most adjudicated army, because we don't allow, any of these incidents to go uninvestigated. We investigate them. There's an independent investigation. That's in the army. There's an independent investigation above the army, if it's necessary, in our judiciary, which that corrupt prosecutor, before he had to escape, the sexual assault charges, he said Israel has not only the means inside the army to check malfeasance, but above the army. And I stand with our soldiers. I mean, they're the most moral soldiers in the world, none more moral, I could say. And just as America investigates its own forces when necessary, so does Israel.
And Prime Minister, I find it interesting that the public or people in the media don't get this, what you're saying. It's clear as the noonday sun to me, some of the things that you've alluded to.
And I have to tell you.
Okay, so notice what he said, right? So Netanyahu was talking about how this is the most moral army and how we are, we have independent investigations, and then those investigations are independent, and those are investigated as well. And Officer Tatum provides no pushback whatsoever, none. When Bibi Netanyahu says this is the most moral army in the history of the world, Officer Tatum's like, yeah, I really think that was interesting. Like, what? Folks, I'm going to provide you some evidence that this is just not true. So if you just Google, a simple Google search, how many innocents has the Israeli army killed since October 7th? You have the AI overview. It says right here, more than 64,700 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces in Gaza as of September 3rd, 2025. Granted, this is 4 days later. This is the 7th. A report based on an internal Israeli intelligence database suggests that 83% of these fatalities are civilians. But they're the most moral army in the world, according to Bibi Netanyahu, and Officer Tatum's just gonna nod along like this, taking that Israel money. Like, how do these influencers let these people lie? I understand the money must be great, but how do these people allow all of these Israeli propagandists, right? These war criminals. This guy's a war criminal. How do you allow him to lie to your face and expect to have any credibility whatsoever after the interview? Granted, I don't think the interview did well. I think it got like maybe 100K views. Maybe that's a little bit too much. I'm not sure. But okay, this is just backing up what I'm saying here. So once again, Netanyahu says we have the most moral army in the world, which I just disproved that. Anybody with a Google search engine can do that. Anybody that uses AI could relatively do that. It's so simple. 64,700 people that were killed. 83% were innocent civilians as of 4 days ago. I literally just pulled it up for you. And then here's what happened to the Gaza Strip, okay? So this is the most moral army, what they did to a peaceful place on the surface is what it appears to be, a peaceful place. Here's what they did. So right here, this is Gaza, this is the Gaza Strip, July 8th, 2023. Beautiful, right? It appears to be beautiful. And then here it is today, September 1st, 6 days ago. And I'm sorry for excessively breathing into the mic, but just imagine if this was you. I understand they frame it as, oh, these are radical Muslims, okay, but the Muslims don't just live there. There's Catholics that live there too. There's Christians that live there too. 3 Catholics were killed by the IDF, and they claim it was a mistake, although they say Israel was the most moral army, and all of our attacks are targeted. And this is something that Netanyahu has said. So if you're targeted, well, then you're targeting Christians. Those were Christians that you targeted. You're targeting innocent civilians. You brag about how you have the most advanced warfare and how you send out they airdrop these warnings before they're gonna bomb some. Okay, but like, where are these people expected to go? They're landlocked. This is tragic, man. If anybody had any remote compassion, you would understand why this isn't okay. It's not okay. And this guy, Officer Tatum, just shilled for Israel, completely let these things go unchecked. And it's so frustrating to see these influencers when they largely appear to be bought. And I don't know how much he received for this interview. He might have done the interview for free. He mentioned how he took a trip to Israel recently. And this was quite funny because he kind of went against what he had the interview set up to do. So this next clip that I'm going to reference from the Officer Tatum interview with Benjamin Netanyahu, in it he talks about how his congregation, so he had his church congregation go to Israel, and he said it was an amazing experience. And he said the only insult they faced was being spat on by a Jewish child. And he said this to the Prime Minister of Israel as if to say, oh no, we were only spit on once. So I'm going to play this for you and just listen to how absurd this is.
As a Christian who went to Israel, I spent 2 weeks there with the church, and we had an incredible time. We had only one incident where a small child spit on one of the pastors.
If you're trying to portray this country and their people as good, wouldn't you leave this out? So obviously this backfired. And I'm not going to pull this up here. I might pull this up, actually. I just want to go on YouTube real quick and Google Officer Tatum. And I want to Google this interview with Netanyahu and just see how many views it's got. Because I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe it did well, but let's see here. All right, so I'm clicking on his link right now. I'm not going to play it for you. He has 61,000 views as of 2 days ago. So Officer Tatum essentially sold out for 61,000 views. So that's that. But this is not going well for these people. All of these pro-Israel influencers are trying to get us to somehow forget what we're seeing. And it's just quite crazy. I mean, like I said, they claim this is the most moral army. You can debate if it's a genocide. Credible sources have called it a genocide. I believe it's a genocide. And you just see when these people have Netanyahu on, it's like, I don't understand it's just a softball interview. It's like a girl pitching a baseball to Giancarlo Stanton, or I don't know, I'm not a big baseball guy. Aaron Judge. It's like a 12-year-old girl pitching a ball to Aaron Judge and saying, oh, that was a hard pitch. That was a great pitch. And he cracks it out of the park because it's a 12-year-old girl. It's just so crazy how these people, the lack of pushback when they have this guy on, this tour that he's on to try and win back the hearts and minds of the American youth. You lost the American left a long time ago. Now you lost the American right in terms of the youth. The only people that Israel has left in America, the only generation, is right-leaning Gen X and right-leaning boomers. That's it, bro. You're cooked in like 15 years. You're cooked. American support in a decade is going to be cooked. You're done. So I guess they're going to try and do whatever they can now while they still have American support, majority American support, which I don't even know if they have that. But This is very tragic, man. This is very sad. These people don't deserve this. If you were in the Palestinian situation, I understand you're being bombarded with Israeli propaganda about how these people are animals, and Ben Shapiro says these people are animals from birth and that they're all terrorists, even the babies are terrorists. But these are people. They're not all Muslim. They're not evil. They're not all evil. They're not all bad. So it's just very infuriating as a Catholic myself. You hate that this happens. You hate that this is allowed to continue to go on. And you hate that your religion, your consensus for your religion, your voting bloc, if you want to call it a voting bloc, is expected to just do it, be complicit in it, and follow the party line. It's like, no, I can't support this. This isn't what I don't support politicians going over there and autographing missiles and autographing bombs and signing them saying kill them all. It just doesn't make any sense. If you're claiming to be a Catholic, if you're claiming to be Christian, you shouldn't be supporting this. And our country is giving billions and billions of dollars away to this country to supply them with weapons to kill innocents when we can't even pave the roads, when we can't even build any infrastructure. Our country, America, is crumbling. We are crumbling as a nation, infrastructure-wise, job-wise. The housing market is fucked. We are cooked, basically. We can't afford to run our country. And so we're in, I don't even know how many trillions of dollars of debt. It's in the 100 trillions, I believe. And no, it's not. It's 37 trillion. But the point is, I'm getting off track here. We can't afford to run our country. Why are we giving this country billions and billions of dollars? About $4 billion annually, I think, all time since October 7th. It's been around $20 billion that we've given Israel for the weapons, largely. And it's just, I don't support this. You shouldn't support this. This doesn't have legs. This argument does not have legs. They're going to continue to tell you that Israel is the most moral army. I understand, whatever. It is what it is. But you can't be stupid enough to believe it. That's all I'll say. We have another story to transition. It brings me no joy to talk about this, man, because it doesn't go to great places. So I just want to preface this by saying these things don't have to happen. We should be able to live in a society that is a high trust society. What we live in now is a low trust society because the adults are gone. I don't know where they went, but they're gone. And ever since the rise of Black Lives Matter, we as a society have treated the police, the cops, like shit. In the majority of scenarios, when you look these things up, the cops have been right. Okay, well, what am I talking about here? Well, yesterday, there was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, and her name, I apologize